I retired at 65 and regret it. I regret all those extra vacations that I skipped on because I said we couldn't afford it. I regret missing a lot of birthdays from friends and grandkids and kids because I was busy working. I regret saving so much that I didn't spend enough time and enough money and resources to actually enjoy some of it along the way. I regret neglecting a little bit on the health along the way because now it's too late. Yes, I received a comment from a viewer named Jack who absolutely regrets retiring at 65. Sadly, I hear what Jack is saying, and this is just a common thread that we're hearing all too often. A lot of people, they work their careers, they work all their lives thinking that, the magic number 65, maybe 67 is that number. That's the place to retire. Meantime, they got caught up in the corporate life, trying to climb that ladder, reaching for the next rung that maybe didn't quite exist. Constantly saying somebody or pretending you're somebody that you're not, just so you hopefully maintain a job and sustain that lifestyle that you believe is truly what you need and want. The corporate game, working all your life. A lot of people are working that lifestyle now. Well, so many people feel that 65 or 67 is a target retirement age, and it's perfectly fine that they retire at 65. The unfortunate reality is this expectation that's set from banks, governments. They set the tone. They tell you that 65 is your retirement age. They tell you that 67 might be your retirement age. And because they tell us all this information, we start to believe it. And so everything we do in our lives start to target us, start to push us down that path. We all start to assume that, hey, you know what, I'm going to retire at 65. Therefore, I can buy this mortgage, I can buy this car, a car every 5 or 6 or 7 years, I'll have it paid off, and you keep getting into this rotation. Well, that's a rotation that quite often I never quite bought into. But unfortunately, many people do. And they openly admit that, yeah, it's perfectly fine to be productive and open to working till the end. What do you mean the end? Everybody says, well, you retire at 65 and you're good for many years. But now, Jack, according to what I'm hearing, is unfortunately, it's too little too late. Because now at 65 and retiring, there's an unfortunate reality that way too many people start to realize. Illness. So while Jack went through his entire life spending it trying to climb the corporate ladder, trying to seek that next job opportunity, trying to put on a big smiley face for the corporate leaders when he sees them, try to do all those things that makes him believe that he's doing the right thing. And Jack openly admit, he looks back in retrospect, and that was one of his biggest mistakes, and he truly regrets retiring at 65. Why? Because he succumbed to what society is telling us, that 65 is normal. But the reality, if you really start looking at polling statistics, according to World Health Organization, they're saying the average person gets ill at 66.1 years of age. Now, I've thrown this statistic around a bunch, but it really resonates with me. Because the more people I see and hear that are retiring at 65 or 67, what does that start to conjure up thoughts of? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the first thing is, to work to 65, quite often, there's many people I encounter and many viewers that say that, yes, they in fact will work to 65. They have a young family, a spouse, what have you, and they're trying to support that. Or many others that are single and they just work their entire life. Whatever it is, everybody has their own driving reasons why they feel to be productive is equal to working to 65 or equal to working to 67. That's what society tells us what we're productive. Sadly, I hate to openly admit that's sort of the case. And the only reason I admit to that is because what we have now is a scenario where you work yourself all of your useful years. They teach you in school, they train you. 15, 16 years of age, you're starting to learn. By the time you're 16, 17, they're sitting down with a guidance counselor and a career counselor at your high school. And they're telling you, okay, here's your likes, wants, what you're good at, your aptitudes. Okay, you should try this, or this. And while that seems like a great opportunity to learn what your next career move might be as you enter the workforce, by the time you're either 18 or 19, or should you actually go to post-secondary and you become, say, 21, 22, maybe 23, and you're popping out at the other end, Now you're into your working career. So you're starting at 20, 22 years of age, and most people are assuming that they should work to 65 or 67. So let's say 65 is the expected age. You work to 65, you start at 20, that's 45 years of work. That is the sweet spot. That is literally your best years. As a matter of fact, in many cases I've heard medical studies suggest that the body starts actually deteriorating once you're in your mid to late 20s. In other words, you've peaked. Your body is as healthy and as rejuvenated and vivacious and great as it will ever be by the time you're in your late 20s. And sadly, we all just get into this rut of working, trying to chase the next opportunity, the next career move, trying to earn a raise which feels like peanuts in comparison to the big scale when we look around us and what many, many people are actually earning in terms of wealth and the amount of time we have to put in to earn that. You know, I think back retrospectively when I started work many years ago, $3.35 an hour is what I started earning. Yes, I started working in a restaurant, and it wasn't very much money. And I look back and I think, what a joke. I even talked to some people that were making $2, $2.50 an hour when they started their first job. Can you imagine making $2 an hour? Granted, a house maybe only cost $20,000, $25,000 for 1,000 square foot bungalow. But still, the salary was so low that it seems almost like joke. It was almost hilarious by today's standards. So we spend the next 40 years, 45 years clawing our way. We get a raise for $1. We get a 25-cent raise. We get a 20-cent raise. We get a $1.25 raise. And every time we do that, that's that carrot. That carrot saying, hey, keep it up. You're doing good. You're doing good. And that's that carrot that keeps you stringing along, so that if they maintain status quo, you'd never be excited. You'd never have this motivation to keep pushing on. But there's this carrot that you can never quite reach, never quite get it. And that's the carrot. And it's called inflation. Of course, naturally, that's a result of spending. So you earn a penny, you take that penny, you spend 3/4 of that penny on some item, whether it's a car or a house. Okay, and this keeps going on. So as you spend, you need more. The more spending that goes on in society, that drives inflation. The reduction of the value of the dollar is the dollar was only worth so much. There's a baseline. So of course, inflation keeps escalating, or if you will, inflating money, thus resulting in the value of it reducing. So of course, you've got to spend a little more money to get the same product. It's basic inflationary conversation we don't care about. The point of the matter is you keep chasing this proverbial carrot all your life to finally wind up at 65 years of age, and you've watched the best years of your life. As Jack realized, he realized that he missed many birthdays, not just of his kids, but some grandkids. He realized that he missed some anniversaries. He realized that he skipped on vacations when you can't buy experiences. You can buy a car, a boat, a house, but you can't buy experiences. And many people love traveling for that experience. We love traveling for our experiences too. We've had many great experiences to talk about, and we love talking. We just love enjoying that. Sitting on a beach, walking, enjoying the sun, sitting on that oceanfront, sitting on the boardwalk there having a sip of red wine in Italy was one of those highlights for me, or Portugal. We absolutely loved it. And those are experiences that not just make us who we are, but make life, and those are the true nectars of the gods, and make life as rewarding as it can be. But as we defer those things, we think retirement is going to be the time that we're going to enjoy that. But we're going to work now, and we're going to not just work double down, which I truly believe work harder when you're younger so you can alleviate the stress later on in life. I truly believe that. But there will be a time when most people either know when to cut their ties, or other people just keep on keeping on. And unfortunately, Jack, like many people, keep trying. They keep pushing. They, keep buying those cars, keep upgrading their house, keep spending money where they could put that money somewhere else to help facilitate maybe walking away from a corporate game a little earlier. But instead, Many people get caught up in that world, the world of glamour, the world of glitz, the world of the latest electronics, the world of everything that means items, assets, things that you want, the new shiny toy. And it's great to enjoy those things. And certainly if you have a passion for something, never forego that. I mean, enjoy that passion. If you enjoy traveling, enjoy it. If you enjoy golfing, enjoy it. Do those things. But just understand, there's a lot of other items that you're spending money on too on the peripheral that are more of a nice to have, not necessarily a need to have. And people get caught up chasing those things. And in doing so, you find yourself further and further in hock, pushing out that proverbial retirement date, thus compromising that time with the family, compromising that time with the kids and the grandkids or those vacations. And then, of course, that ultimately means you blink, you wake up, you're 63, and now you have to think about, I have to retire in a couple of years. I better scramble and put some investments in. Then we see your timing may be off, and a lot of people are. And as we're seeing right now what's going on in the U.S. economy, and we're seeing, of course, with some of the inflation, but also with some of the stock market and the crashes that we're seeing. This is all having a major impact. And if your timing's not right, I mean, everybody talks about the S&P 500, and right now, it's actually taking a dive. Realistically, we've always said long-term growth on S&P is a great opportunity to sustain some long-term growth. Sustainability, as you retire, you can draw from, some of the benefits of that financial gain. But unfortunately, your timing could be off, and many people it is. And now you could have been at a high point in your market, you planned your retirement, and now unfortunately we're seeing this crash in the market. So there's a lot of unforeseens and unforeknowns. So searching for that dollar, chasing that proverbial dollar, throwing everything at your career, ultimately usually means you're compromising something. The worst part is, as I said, WHO says 66.1. Right, average life expectancy, anywhere from 73 to 76. We're here in the US, it's mid-70s. And what does that mean then? You work till you're 65 just so you can enjoy a couple of years of maybe no health issues, followed up by all of a sudden you go to a doctor and you're given some bad news. And it may not be chronic, it may not be absolute devastating, but it might be somewhere in the middle where it's debilitating or debilitating. It might be something that slows you down. Now all of a sudden you can't travel because now you have a pre-existing condition, so healthcare isn't going to necessarily look after you, or insurance, travel insurance may not cover you. And now you want to take that trip to Europe that you always wanted to, and you can't because of cost insurance is through the roof, or your condition is one in which you're not allowed to travel. Your doctor says stay grounded. These are conditions that I'm hearing all too often, and it's absolutely tragic. Not just as Jack sharing that with me, but I'm hearing other stories time and time again. It's soul crushing that we give up the best years of our life to some corporate game that you can't win. At the very best, you wind up with a small pocket of money. And I get it. We all have to do that. We all have to earn a living. But the idea is focus on finding the way to cut loose sooner than later. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Maybe some live extremely frugally. Maybe some double down on the early part of their life. And some people just say, I don't need all these extra assets. They just say, I'm going to downsize. There's a million ways to go about this, but I'll tell you for free. The very idea of working to 65, for many people, seems normal, and it seems like the go-to until it's not. And like in Jack's case, he looks back retrospectively, as many people have that I've come across in my comment section, that say I should have retired early. I really should have retired early. And now me, it's sitting at 54. I'm about to hit 55 here as I roll into June. It's a stark reminder how quickly these years go by. I mean, it was 53 when I was released, when I left the corporate game. 53. I'm 55 now. It feels like I blinked. It was a busy this last year, taking care of a lot of estate info for my parents and trying to clean up that. But sadly, so too many people succumb to these assumptions and these this rhetoric that we're getting from society that tells us we need to work to 65. We know Social Security is an impact. We know there's an impact if you cut loose and you have the reduced Social Security or CPP or old age security. We know that those are all factors. You will take reduced numbers. We know that you will have a shorter amount of investments. We know those are all factors. You just need to find your sweet spot. Is 45, 50 the right place for you? Everybody's a little bit different. For me, my number was 55, 56. I couldn't have retired at 48 if I wanted to. But for some people, it is 48. For some people, it's 59. But just know this, the longer you put time off and retirement off, or even stepping away from the grind, the less life you're actually going to live. Because really, think about it this way. This is an hourglass. And every second you're sitting there staring at that hourglass as the grains of sand flow through the neck of the bottle is another day gone, another minute, another hour, another week, a month. There is one less Christmas you're going to spend. There's one less birthday you're going to enjoy. There's one less anniversary, and there's probably one or two less vacations you're going to take. So this isn't about being sad. This is about being joyful and joyous and understanding that that is a fact. That as in Jack's case, we all have a mortality we have to face. The bottom line is, the sooner the better, where we can actually enjoy some of that time. Enjoy the time with our friends, our family. Maybe you've got grandkids you'd like to spend a little more time with. Maybe you'd like to take that extra vacation that you've been putting off. Maybe you realize that you're working in that corporate game where they're charging you taxes to the tune of 47 to 50%, and where your $140,000 corporate game is only delivering you $70,000, you may reconsider, you may look at that $140,000 job and start crunching your numbers, and your investments and your reduced pension may combine to actually offer you something very comparable. You would actually be surprised how many people, how many retirees can actually retire, or would-be retirees can actually retire early when they actually sit down with an expert in the industry, a financial advisor, somebody that actually has that experience, a professional. And you may be surprised how close you actually are. Because remember, waiting to 65, waiting to 67, the government is saying that. They want you to put money into the system. And it just feels so wrong. We've been pouring money down the proverbial money pit for years, and the systems aren't coming back. Remember, income tax was something that was invented many, many decades ago. It hasn't always been a thing. But it's all part of this industrialized revolution or society that we're all caught up in. And now the corporate game is just an extension of that. These thoughts and beliefs that we have to work to 65 to be productive. What's wrong with being productive and fixing your house, spending time, productive in ways of building relationships with your friends and family? That's productive. Not earning money for some corporate game that is just a funnel and a money pit. Anyway, I couldn't help but share Jack's story, and it's a story that resonates with all too many people out there. Really, retiring at 65, 67 is one of the biggest mistakes you could possibly make, and one which many, many people regret when they work that long. Please be sure as well to check out my story here about my dad. Absolutely one of the biggest, most positive influences in my life. Hope to see each and everybody in the next time. See you real soon. Bye-bye.